Imagine living in a magical world inhabited by several different races, but where humans are the weakest beings, treated like garbage by all the others. Our story begins in a world created by a goddess and inhabited by 9 different races: dragonids, elves, onis, dwarves, demons, dark elves, centaurs, beast folk, and humans, in that order. Soon we meet the protagonist of our story, a boy named Light, who says goodbye to his family to travel the world and become an adventurer, hoping to improve his family's life once he returns from his journey. But right away, the boy gets lost in the city and is confronted by a humanoid wolf who says that humans should know their place in society. Light eventually arrives at an adventurer's guild and speaks with a receptionist, who asks for his name. Light introduces himself and explains it's his first registration as an adventurer. Right off the bat, the receptionist wants to put the boy in the lowest rank and asks what his gift is. Light replies that his gift is Unlimited Gacha, which the receptionist doesn't understand at all, asking him to explain better. Light quickly summons a magic compass, and when he presses the button, the object begins spinning on its own. Suddenly, a fork card appears and materializes into a real fork on the table, but to everyone's surprise, it's bent. Trying to fix the awkward moment, Light summons more cards, an apple and a loaf of bread. Yet what comes out is a rotten apple and a moldy loaf. At that point, the receptionist, without hesitation, assigns him to rank F, the lowest possible. Light asks if he can take any jobs, and the receptionist points to a wall behind him with available quests. But she quickly realizes the boy can't read and feels pity for the poor kid. She grabs a paper and tells him he could chop wood, carry dirt, and cut grass, but warns the pay will be very low. Still, Light accepts, even if the jobs are degrading. He works all day under the scorching sun, and at night, he earns just enough to afford one night in a cheap inn. Looking for a place to sleep, Light accidentally bumps into 3 humanoid dogs. One of them says Light dirted his clothes and should pay for cleaning. When the dog sees Light's small money pouch, he doesn't think twice, knocks the boy to the ground and steals his hard-earned coins. Light demands they give his money back, but they just laugh in his face, saying they'll put it to better use buying drinks. Fallen on the ground, Light starts getting insulted by passers-by. One says, "Get out of the way, human," while another tells him to sleep in the trash with the rest of the scum, showing just how badly humans are treated by other races. When everything seems lost, a hand reaches out to help him up, and Light looks up to see a beautiful elf girl. Shocked, he notices a whole group standing behind her. Trying to comfort him, the elf kneels and gives him a warm hug, even as other onlookers criticize the scene. Light, realizing she got dirty just to embrace him, thinks he must be dreaming, but the elf tells him he's wide awake. The group introduces themselves as the Concord of Tribes, a faction formed by members of every race created by the goddess. The beast folk Garu, the elf Sasha, the dragonid Drago, the demon Diablo, the Oni Oboro, the dwarf Nano, the dark elf Sion, and the centaur Santer. The only race missing was a human, and that's where Light would fit in. Sion explains that their group was founded to fight racial discrimination and that they needed someone like Light to help their cause. The leader, Drago, extends his hand and asks if Light wants to join them. Without thinking twice, the boy accepts, feeling like the happiest child in the world, unaware of what fate had in store. Soon we see a cave scene in the middle of a storm, a giant worm-like monster about to devour Light, who's completely defenseless. Thankfully, Drago saves him, asking if he's okay. But another worm lunges, and this time it's Sasha who fires an arrow right through its head. She scolds Light, saying she can't take her eyes off him for a second and tells him to stay close. The elf reveals they're in the most dangerous dungeon, the Abyss, where anything could kill a fragile boy like him in an instant. Light apologizes for being a burden, and Sasha strokes his cheek gently like a mother, only to be teased by her teammates for not resisting the boy's cuteness. Sasha quickly denies it, saying she's just protecting the team's reputation, but the dark elf doesn't buy it. Drago steps in to cheer Light up, saying he loves the tea Light makes for the team, which brings a smile to the boy's face. The leader then orders the group to move on, and Light, ever enthusiastic, follows. After walking for a while, they stop to rest. Light assumes it's tea time and starts preparing it as usual. While he's doing that, Drago suddenly approaches and tells him there's no need to make tea anymore. Confused, Light looks up, and the leader bluntly says he's officially expelled from the group. Light freezes, not understanding, and Drago repeats, "You're fired." At first, Light thinks it's a joke, but Garu says they're literally kicking his ass out. Realizing it's real, Light asks what he did wrong, and Garu replies he's completely useless. The others join in mocking him. Even Sasha, the one who once protected him, calls him so stupid he drives her crazy. Sion says she's not sure if his idiocy is due to lack of brain cells or just a human thing. The dwarf Nano says he's relieved they're finally rid of that nuisance, and others remark that he smells so bad they couldn't breathe near him. Still thinking it's a prank, Light turns to Sasha, who confirms they're serious. Shocked, Light asks why they pretended to like him, and Garu says they've been faking it all along. He then asks why they even wanted him in the group, and Drago answers. It was because of his gift. Light, confused, says his useless gacha couldn't be that special. Drago explains that their superiors once thought Light might be a maestro, but after seeing his poor performance, they realized his power was worthless, so the group was ordered to discard him. Sion comments that their bosses should have fired him earlier, and Sasha adds she's glad she won't have to marry an inferior being, revealing her affection had been an act all along. Light starts piecing things together, asking about maestros and bosses. Drago scolds Garu for talking too much, but the wolf shrugs. The boy won't live to tell their secrets anyway. Drago agrees and gives the order, execute Light. Excited, Garu activates his claws and slashes Light's face, leaving a deep scar on his cheek. Horrified by the blood on his hands and by the betrayal of his supposed friends, Light panics and runs for his life. Sasha shoots an arrow into his knee, knocking him down. Garu laughs cruelly, walking toward him while Sion says the boy's screams are music to her ears. Without mercy, Garu kicks Light in the stomach, sending him rolling on the ground, then continues beating him until Drago tells him not to overdo it. Sasha coldly remarks that Light should die at the hands of a monster, not them, to make their story believable. Understanding the plan, Garu readies to finish him off. Light, crawling in desperation, whispers that he wants to live. Suddenly, a massive purple portal appears around him. Drago shouts at Garu not to let him escape, but it's too late. Light vanishes without a trace. He wakes up elsewhere in the dungeon, realizing he triggered a teleport trap that sent him far from the traders. But he despairs, knowing he'll soon die alone anyway. Crying, he misses his family and recalls the happy times traveling with the group. All lies. He can't understand what Maestro means or who ordered his death. Rage slowly consumes his broken heart. He vows to kill every single member of the Concord of Tribes with his own hands. His thoughts are interrupted when suddenly two giant, twin-headed stone beasts appear. They're level 1000, monsters of legend. That's when Light realizes he's been teleported to the deepest layer of the abyss. Seeing death approach, he activates his gift one last time, summoning the compass. But this time, a huge blue magic circle appears, something unlike anything before. As the monster lunges at him, the compass draws a golden card, and in a flash of light, a young woman appears, slicing the creature to pieces in an instant. Light stares in awe. The woman, dressed like a maid, turns to him and walks closer. Kneeling before him, she bows gracefully and touches his wounded cheek, instantly healing it with a soft glow. She apologizes, saying she couldn't bear to see such a beautiful face injured. Amazed that his pain is gone, Light stands up fully healed. The young woman asks his name, and he introduces himself. She calls him Master Light and pledges eternal loyalty as his maid, leaving him stunned. When he asks who she is, she requests permission to speak her name, which he grants. The woman smiles and introduces herself as May, the tireless maid. Then she reveals she's level 9999 and came from a super ultra rare card from his Unlimited Gacha. Light can hardly believe it. His so-called useless gacha had summoned someone this powerful. May humbly says she's just a maid and he can call her by name. When he does so, she beams with happiness. She then asks a favor, to analyze his gacha and understand its true potential. She insists it can't be useless. Light agrees, and she begins her assessment. After examining it thoroughly, May is astonished, saying his abilities were hidden deep within and invisible to anyone below her level. She explains that the gacha can be rolled infinitely, and the rarity of cards depends on the mana density around, the amount of energy in the environment. She lists the rarities: extra, super ultra rare, SSS rare, SS rare, S rare, normal, and error, respectively. May reveals that mana density is highest in the dungeon's depths and lowest on the surface, explaining why Light couldn't summon her before. She praises his courage for surviving the abyss alone and summoning her rare card, but admits he's still weak and would have died without protection. Light bitterly explains he wasn't alone, His group betrayed him. Hearing this, May embraces him and apologizes for not understanding his pain. She vows to destroy those who wronged him, asking permission to hunt them down and bring back their heads as an offering to her master. But Light refuses, saying it was his fault for being weak, and he'll grow stronger to take revenge himself. He asks if his dream is foolish, and May kneels again, declaring his dream is hers too, and that she'll help him fulfill it. She tells him she believes in his potential above all else. Grateful, Light thanks her sincerely. After that, Light activates his Unlimited Gacha once more, harnessing the Abyss's immense energy to summon another powerful card, and thus begins his journey to build a kingdom of his own, one that will pave the road to vengeance against the cruel, unjust world that betrayed him. 3 years later, 3 years have passed. We see a line of maids standing with their heads bowed while Light, wearing a long cloak and holding a staff, walks confidently down the corridor with May by his side. The boy now radiates an aura of authority never seen before. He praises the maids for their excellent work, and they thank their master respectfully. Soon, some of the maids begin expressing rather personal feelings toward their lord, which makes May visibly uncomfortable. She asks for permission to silence those chatty fairies, but Light simply smiles, acknowledging that they're just love-struck, and that's not really a problem. We cut to a small town where several villagers greet Light warmly, showing that this settlement was founded by him. One villager offers him a plate of food, which Light says he'll try later. Another reports that supplies are running low, to which Light replies that he'll inform the administrator. May comments that she'll handle it quickly so no one suspects a problem in logistics. Light notes that the population has grown tremendously over the past 3 years and that the system needs to be restructured. He then asks what the other members of his quartet are doing. May replies that they're faithfully carrying out their missions. We're then introduced to new members of Light's army, starting with Aoyuki, who is exploring the upper perimeter of the Abyss and creating maps. Light compliments her scouting work, though May warns him about Aoyuki's unstable behavior. She tends to act like a cat. Light, however, finds that amusing. Light next asks about Ellie, the mage, and May says she's been working hard to develop new spells aligned with the grand plan. Light hopes she's not overworking herself, but May assures him that every one of the servants loves serving their master. Finally, Light asks about Nazuna, and May explains she's patrolling the castle grounds as usual. May describes Nazuna as an expert in close combat, though a bit flawed as a person. Light doesn't seem to mind, saying it's nice to have Nazuna around since she makes things more entertaining. As Light and May walk down the corridor, they're suddenly stopped by Jack, a tall, muscular man and one of the warriors Light summoned. May scolds him for speaking to the master so casually, but Light says it's fine. He sees Jack as an older brother, which clearly irritates May. Light then says he'll go train for a bit, and May wishes him good luck. At the training grounds, Light says he won't use gloves today. Jack tells him to bring it on, and the boy dashes forward at full speed, landing a powerful punch straight to Jack's abdomen, hard enough to push back the huge man. Jack laughs nervously, warning that such a hit could have killed anyone without superhuman strength. Light grins, reminding him that he's not wearing gloves today. Jack responds in kind, and the two clash fiercely, exchanging blows in a thrilling sparring match. Meanwhile, Nazuna continues her routine patrol around the palace until a few maids approach her. One teasingly asks if she's just wandering around or actually patrolling. Nazuna, cheerful as always, replies that she's following her master Light's orders and doing her job. The maids flatter her for her dedication, making Nazuna blush and humbly reply that she's just obeying orders. When asked where she'll patrol next, she says she's not sure yet. The maids then slyly suggest she visit a very important and secret place, one forbidden even to them. Naive as ever, Nazuna doesn't catch on and agrees, while the maids exchange mischievous smiles, clearly planning to trick one of Light's commanders. Moments later, Nazuna knocks on a large door, Light's room. May opens it, shocked to see her co-worker there. May demands to know why Nazuna came to Light's chambers, and Nazuna proudly replies that she's on patrol. May calmly says the area is perfectly safe, but Nazuna quickly asks what she's doing there since Light is training with Jack. May insists she's simply cleaning the room, performing her duties as head maid. Nazuna, however, ignores her and steps inside, teasing May for being such a workaholic. Nazuna notices the bed looks like someone just laid on it, and May awkwardly claims it's her unique bed-making technique. Excited, Nazuna asks to learn it, but May says it's a trade secret. Nazuna playfully calls her Light's first incarnation, acknowledging her status as his first summon. Internally, Mei sighs with relief at Nizuna's innocence. Nizuna then remembers her errand and hands Mei a letter, an official notice from the other maids demanding that Mei undergo a medical examination and step down as head maid. Mei remains calm and tells Nizuna not to worry, assuring her she'll deal with the matter personally. She even gives Nizuna a few coins as thanks for delivering the message. Touched, Nizuna says Mei can always count on her help, then happily leaves the castle to buy sweets. Mei exhales deeply, relieved to have gotten rid of her nuisance for the day. At a shop in town, Nizuna picks out milk and dorayaki. Upon exiting, she runs into Aoyuki, who's watching the city from a castle balcony. Nizuna asks if she wasn't supposed to be exploring the abyss. Oyuki responds with cat-like meows, which Nizuna can't understand, unlike Light. When Nizuna asks if there's danger nearby, Aoyuki sighs and switches to normal speech, showing her the map she finished under Mei's orders. No threats detected. Oblivious to Aoyuki's irritation, Nizuna cheerfully pats her back multiple times, saying she should have mentioned that sooner, then skips off to resume her patrol. Inside the throne room, Nizuna shouts to check if the coast is clear. After confirming she's alone, she sighs that she hasn't seen her master today and kneels on his throne, caressing the chair affectionately. Suddenly, she hears a noise, the sound of something breaking. Horrified, she sees she's broken the wing of an angel statue beside the throne. Panicking, Nizuna tries to glue the broken piece back before bolting out of the room. Elsewhere, Light and Jack end their training with one last strike. Jack suggests they take a break and relax in the hot springs, which Light happily agrees to. As they soak, Jack compliments Light's progress in hand-to-hand combat, and Light thanks him for the training. Jack proudly remarks that very few beings in the abyss, or even on the surface, could match Light's strength now. Light, however, stays humble, knowing true threats still remain out there, and that he can't lower his guard until his revenge is complete. Back in Mei's office, she faces her maids sternly, reading aloud the letter demanding her resignation. The maids panic and bow their heads, apologizing. Mei demands an explanation. They claim they only wanted to help her because she seemed overworked. Mei doesn't buy it and asks why they sent Nizuna instead of speaking directly to her. The maids start gossiping again, which prompts Mei to sit down and coldly declare their request denied. As punishment, she assigns them to clean the corridor leading to the throne room by hand. The maids protest, but Mei reminds them that if they wish to be promoted, they must work hard. She adds that she'll be leaving soon on a mission with Light, and expects the palace spotless upon her return. With no choice, the maids bow and obey. Meanwhile, Nizuna gazes longingly at a gauntlet displayed in a shop window, something she can't afford. Ellie, the mage, spots her and asks what she's doing. Nizuna explains, then asks why Ellie isn't out on inspection duty. Ellie says everything's fine and she just decided to rest. She then calls Nizuna an idiot. Offended, Nizuna argues back, saying she knows her multiplication tables, though she hilariously answers that 1 times 2 is equal to 3, proving Ellie's point. Annoyed, Nizuna snaps that people who call others stupid are the real idiots. The two bicker in the middle of the street, drawing the attention of onlookers just trying to work in peace. Nizuna boasts about her day patrolling the palace, while Ellie smugly mentions having tea with Light to discuss progress on his plan, adding she'll reserve a private room next time they dine together. Nizuna grows jealous, claiming it's unfair that she doesn't get the same treatment. Ellie teasingly asks if she's upset about the tea, or something more. Nizuna, missing the implication, compliments Ellie's magic and offers to help her anytime. Amused, Ellie thanks her innocent rival, as Nizuna cheerfully runs off to continue her patrol. Back at the palace, the maids complain about Mei's strict punishment, but admit they can't report her since she's Light's right hand. One confesses she envies Mei for being allowed to clean the master's room. They gossip about how Mei was Light's first summon, and that he didn't summon anyone else for 3 months after her. The girls wonder what might have happened during that time, their jealousy growing. Unable to contain their resentment, they attempt to cast a curse on Mei, but are caught mid-act. Mei appears behind them, asking what kind of slander they're spreading now. Shocked, the maids stammer that they thought Mei was away on a mission. Mei says she merely passed by and overheard their words of devotion. She repeats their insults aloud, demanding an explanation. The maids panic and reaffirm their loyalty, but Mei, unimpressed, repeats their wish for her death. Finally, they confess they're jealous of her bond with Light. May calmly explains that during those 3 months, she only trained and educated Light. Nothing inappropriate happened. She adds that she initially came to lighten their workload but has reconsidered. As new punishment, she orders them to clean the entire throne room. The maids beg for mercy, but May coldly tells them that if they have time to insult her, they have time to clean as well. Later, we see the maids scrubbing the throne room frantically. One wonders if they'll finish before dawn, when suddenly, as she sweeps near a statue, the broken angel wing falls to the floor. The maids freeze in horror. Elsewhere, Mizuna lies in bed after her long day, regretting not seeing her master and wishing for a new mission. She falls asleep murmuring a soft, "Good night, Master Light." The next morning, Light walks down the corridor and overhears a familiar argument through the door. Smiling, he opens it to find Mizuna, Ellie, and Aoyuki fighting over who among them is the biggest idiot. He cheerfully greets them, and Mizuna lights up with joy at seeing her master again. Oyuki purrs and rubs against him like a cat, and Light gently pats her head. The others look jealous, and Ellie boldly invites Light to her room, but he ignores the flirtation, saying it's time to work. Suddenly, a two-headed chimera bursts into the room. Light freezes, haunted by the memory of almost dying to that creature 3 years ago. But before he can act, the 3 women step forward, their auras flaring. Mizuna, now deadly serious, snarls that such a mutt has no right to appear before her master. Ellie declares the creature's entire race should be exterminated, and Aoyuki vows to send it to a punishment worse than purgatory. The 3 unleash their power, each at level 9,999, ready to obliterate the beast. But the chimera bows submissively, trembling like a scolded puppy. Light quickly calms his subordinates, assuring them it's fine, and gently pats the creature's snout, apologizing for the scare. Ellie then asks what Light wanted to discuss. The young master turns to his commanders, announcing that May has sent word. The plan is ready to begin. With a confident grin, Light declares, "The prey has finally taken the bait." The women cheer in excitement. Ellie, though envious that May was the one to set the trap, respects her master's will. Light smiles darkly. "Let's begin," he says. "Our first course of revenge is ready to be served." We then cut to a village on the surface, Acre, home to the beastfolk race. Among them walks none other than Garu, hailed as a hero by the townspeople and flanked by 2 henchmen. We soon see several villagers greeting Garu. One of the dogs asks the hero to take care of his sister, while a female dog says she'd love to hear Garu's stories someday. With an air of arrogance, Garu calls the villagers pawns and tells them to keep admiring their superstar. He then spots a human boy rummaging through the trash and, without hesitation, knocks the child to the ground and spits in his face, ordering him to stay out of sight. The boy is then insulted by Garu's goons as the 3 dogs continue their walk. The group heads to a bar and starts drinking. The henchmen praise Garu's way of handling his liquor, and their leader quickly orders more drinks so they can all get wasted. Soon we see a grand feast spread out on the table, chicken, sandwiches, and a huge steak. The subordinates begin praising Garu for being someone of humble origins who climbed to the top of society. One of them says he wishes to be like Garu someday. Garu responds that he had to learn how to use his instinctive perception skill wisely, and one of his underlings comments that Garu's ability is far above average. Garu explains that his sense of smell allowed him to distinguish between good and bad opportunities. Making the right choices is what led to his success. Another dog brings up Garu's time working for the Concord of Tribes and asks what kind of job that was. Garu quickly says he can't talk about it. The Federation demands total secrecy. The underling apologizes for asking, and Garu tells him not to worry and to drink freely. In his mind, however, Garu recalls that it had been the easiest job he'd ever done. He only needed to kill a boy pretending to be a maestro, clearly referring to Light. Garu admits that it bothers him not having found Light after his disappearance in the dungeons, but concludes that it would have been impossible for the boy to survive such a hostile place. Even so, Garu confesses that he's curious about this so-called maestro that other nations talk about, though he prefers not to dig deeper into closed matters. As the dogs order more beer, a mysterious woman enters the bar. She apologizes for interrupting their party and introduces herself, revealing to the audience that she's none other than May, wearing a cloak to hide her maid's uniform. The scene shifts to the dungeons, where May, Garu, and the others are walking. May shows signs of exhaustion, and Garu, seemingly concerned, asks if she's all right. She answers yes and tells him not to worry about her. In his thoughts, Garu urges her to hold on just a bit longer, revealing that he and his men had spent a whole month bringing her here. We then see a flashback of Mei's conversation with Garu at the bar. She introduced herself as a servant of Master Light, words that immediately caught the wolf's attention. Mei explained that she had been searching for her master's whereabouts for quite some time. She revealed that Light came from noble blood, which left Garu skeptical, though he considered the remote possibility she might be telling the truth, and the fortune he could make if Light were still alive. Garu told Mei her story was hard to believe. Mei explained she had traveled the world and learned only recently that Light had joined a group of adventurers and was supposedly killed in the abyss. Garu asked what she wanted from him. Desperate, Mei begged him to accompany her to the dungeon to see with her own eyes where her master had last been seen alive. Garu warned that such a trip was dangerous, but Mei quickly opened a case filled with 3 large gold bars. The dogs were immediately mesmerized by the sight, while Garu looked at her suspiciously, wondering if it was a trap. He soon concluded that even if it were, a mere human posed no threat to him. He could kill her at any moment. So he decided to play along, saying he wasn't doing it for the money, but because Light had been a great friend, almost a little brother, and that he owed him a favor. He declared himself the future leader of the wolf tribe and promised to gather a strong team to escort her into the dungeon. Touched, Mei thanked him and his men for their kindness. Back in the present, Garu mentally assures himself he'll help Mei reach her goal unscathed. Then he'll claim his payment. At that moment, lustful fantasies fill his mind. He imagines humiliating Mei before Light's grave. Soon, Mei and the group reach the spot where Light supposedly died. Garu explains that he and his team were ambushed by monsters, including Light himself, who got caught in a teleportation trap and was never seen again. Hearing this, Mei collapses to her knees, lamenting her master's fate. Still playing his role, Garu tells her that the attack had taken them all by surprise and that they hadn't been able to react in time to save Light. Meanwhile, his men secretly block the exit. Garu mocks the stupidity of humans in his mind. He tells Mei he couldn't save Light. Mei, trembling, replies that her heart bleeds for him, that he was brought here only to be betrayed and brutally beaten by ungrateful scum. If she had been summoned earlier, she says, she would never have allowed her master to suffer such pain. At that moment, Garu realizes Mei knows the truth and steps back, wondering how she could know such confidential information. Secrets known only to Concord officials and a few elite executives. Losing his composure, Garu demands to know who she really is. Perhaps a spy from another tribe? Mei coldly replies that her loyalty belongs only to Light, and that he has no right to question a maid's honor. With a threatening glare, Mei unleashes a powerful gust of wind that stuns the dogs. Garu is shocked. His body won't move. He can't believe he's feeling fear toward a mere human. Mei's blue eyes begin to glow, and Garu realizes he's about to die, until a voice interrupts, calmly asking Mei to stand down, saying Garu is his toy to play with. Mei closes her eyes, and Garu turns to see the source of the voice, a mysterious boy. The dogs are dumbfounded that a human child could be standing in the heart of the abyss. Garu freezes, recognizing the figure before him, none other than Light himself. Garu stammers, asking how Light could still be alive. Light smirks and answers that he's here to collect his revenge, with 3 years' worth of interest. Garu's men ask if he knows the boy, but Garu can't believe it. Light survived. Then he bursts into laughter, mocking the absurdity of a level 15 human daring to challenge him, a level 150 warrior. Laughing maniacally, he declares he'll finish what he started and take Light's head back to the dog village, where he'll be crowned king. Light sighs and asks if Garu isn't even curious how he survived, or what his connection to Mei is. Garu admits he is curious but says it doesn't matter, since both of them will die soon. His men are all above level 130, and they'll crush Light easily. He mocks Light as a worthless human with a useless skill. Light calmly replies that Garu is partly right. Mei did save his life. Without hesitation, Garu orders his men to attack. 2 dogs charge at full speed toward Light, but in a flash, Mei's eyes glow, and the next instant, their severed heads hit the ground. Their bodies collapse beside them, revealing her maid uniform. Mei declares that anyone who dares threaten her master will lose their head. Light thanks Mei for her help and tells her to seal the exit. She nods emotionally. The remaining dogs stare, unable to comprehend what just happened. Garu urges them to stay calm, claiming it was just dirty magic tricks. Light remarks that Garu hasn't changed at all in 3 years, still convinced humans are inferior. Then why, he asks, did your men lose their heads so easily? Garu insists Light must have cheated somehow, but as he speaks, unease creeps in. He orders everyone to attack at once. Yet, in a single strike of Light's staff, the entire group is knocked to the ground. Light approaches Garu. "Is that all you've got?" he asks. Humiliated, Garu scratches the ground, calling Light a loser, claiming he's still superior. Then he leaps back and summons a glowing purple orb, declaring that he'll wipe that smug look off Light's face. He throws the orb to the ground, summoning a level 500 crystal Fenrir. His followers gasp at the beast's power, but Light remains unfazed, calling it too weak for him. Garu sneers, saying Light must have lost his mind from fear, and urges him to beg for his life as he did 3 years ago. Light calmly drops his staff, spreads his arms wide, and says he won't dodge nor defend. He'll take the hit head-on. Garu thinks he's bluffing and orders the Fenrir to attack. The beast fires a massive energy blast that engulfs Light completely. Garu laughs, saying the attack could vaporize any human of Light's level. But as the smoke clears, Light stands unharmed, brushing the dust off his clothes. "Nice move," he says, "but all you did was stir up some dust. Don't you feel stupid?" Garu and his men are left speechless. Light then pulls out a glowing card. "Let me show you what a real Fenrir looks like." He summons an ultra-rare level 9000 card, Primordial Fenrir. A massive white wolf appears, radiating divine energy. Garu can't believe his eyes. Light orders his Fenrir to destroy the imposter Mutt, and with a single icy breath, the crystal Fenrir shatters into pieces, dead instantly. Garu's followers are in shock. Light strokes his Fenrir's fur, saying he could have handled that weakling himself. Then we see Light's true level 9999, the same as May and his elite officers. Garu is speechless. It's impossible. Humans can't surpass level 100. He accuses Light of being an imposter since he looks exactly as he did 3 years ago. By now, he should have aged. Light explains that he wears the bracelet of youth, which prevents him from aging, a reminder of the trauma and betrayal he suffered. He keeps his young form to never forget that pain. Garu realizes this truly is Light, and that he can't win. Terrified, he calls Light a monstrous abomination and collapses to his knees, begging for mercy. He pleads that he only followed orders from the Federation and never wanted to harm Light. Even today's ambush was his comrade's idea. His men protest, furious at being blamed, but Garu silences them. Desperate, he begs Light to remember their good times. His followers, disgusted, lose all respect for him. Light says he just wants information. What does Garu know about the so-called Maestro? Why is the government so interested in that figure? Garu insists he knows nothing. Light presses him again. Why did they try to kill him once they realized he wasn't the one they were after? Garu stammers, clueless. Light glares, but the wolf swears he's telling the truth. Turning to the other dogs, Light asks if any of them know. Cowardly, they claim they do, hoping to trick him and survive. In an instant, May slaughters them all. "Any attempt to deceive my master," she declares, "will be punished by death." Garu trembles at the gruesome sight. Light calmly says he has one more question. "Given my current level," he asks, "would I win if I started a war against the surface world?" He warns Garu not to lie. May's eyes of truth can detect falsehood. Terrified, Garu wets himself and answers shakily. Light would initially dominate, but if every nation united their armies and weapons, he'd face resistance. Light nods, saying that's within expectations. There are limits to what one person can do even on a battlefield. He adds that there are more questions, but they'll continue elsewhere. Activating a teleport card, the entire group vanishes. Garu opens his eyes to find himself in a vast hall filled with people. A grand throne at the end. Light walks toward it, greeted by his subordinates, with May following gracefully behind. Garu is paralyzed by the sight. Light sits upon his throne and commands his followers to display their stats, all of them possessing power levels far beyond Garu's comprehension. Overwhelmed, Garu ages visibly, his fur whitening as despair consumes him. Light, seated proudly, asks again if Garu thinks he could ever win against the surface world. Garu can't even respond. Light smirks and congratulates him on earning a special reward, a pain and despair far worse than death. In his thoughts, Garu realizes the truth. They've created a being who could end the world at any time. "We're all doomed," he whispers. "Is Light trying to become a god?" Light smiles. "I like the sound of that," he says. "Someone is hiding the truth from me, whether for good or evil. The path I choose, divine or tyrannical depends on what I find. With my gift, I can bless this world or drown it in despair. He rises, declaring, "Now the world has a chance to prove its worth. My army and I shall march upward, from darkness into the light." We open on a flashback from 6 months ago. Light, flanked by his commanders, is sprinting through a garden, eager to see his family after setting out for another 2-year campaign. He calls out for his father, his mother, and his 2 siblings, Els and Yum, in that order. But his joy lasts only seconds. The sight before him horrifies him and sends him crashing to his knees. His commanders are stunned as well. His house stands before them, completely destroyed and burned to ash. In an instant, he realizes it's not just his home. The entire town has been wiped out by unknown forces. 6 months later, Light, now accompanied by 2 warriors, prays for the dead of his city. He still clings to the hope that his siblings survived, since their bodies were never found. As he rises, a knight named Gold casually asks if he's okay. Light says he is. Gold then adds that it's time to get moving. He doesn't want to stand around all day. A dark-skinned woman with white hair, named Nemimu, scolds the knight, reminding him not to act that way when their master is mourning his family. Watching his subordinates bicker, Light can't tell if they're best friends or sworn rivals. We soon learn both warriors were summoned from ultra-rare cards, and each is level 5000. Gold pushes back, saying speaking like a tense idiot all the time makes anyone unbearable. The 2 immediately start one-upping each other about their loyalty to Light. Nemimu declares she wouldn't mind sleeping beside Light on grass or in a swamp. Gold boasts he'd face the coldest mountain peaks or the hottest magma at his master's side. Still, Gold concludes that for their master's safety, camping right now would be dangerous, and Nemimu reluctantly agrees with her rival. Light tells them not to worry about lodging yet. Their priority is intelligence gathering. Even though his army has enough power to challenge the surface, rushing into war would be foolish. Gold agrees they must know the enemy before any strike. Nemimu asks if the goal is to assess each nation's military strength. Light confirms, and adds that he believes the destruction of his hometown is tied to suspicions that he's a maestro. He wants to understand what makes a maestro worth so much bloodshed, and if the world's answer is a twisted lie, he's ready to turn the world into a blazing hell. As his power flares, the ground trembles briefly before he reins it in. Gold warns him to keep that fury contained in the city. They can't risk accidental casualties. Light apologizes and says he'll be careful. He then draws a card and summons the Fool's Mask. A mask appears in his hands. He puts it on and looks at his parents' graves one last time. He tells them he will never forget them, lays flowers on their tombs, and departs. We cut to Light and his subordinates soaring through the skies. Curious, Nemimu asks what their first task in Dagas will be. Gold reminds her to mind her tone when addressing the master. Light also reminds Nemimu that on the surface she must call him Dark. She apologizes, using his real name topside could make him a target for the Concord of Tribes. Light explains he'll register Dark as an adventurer and raise his rank by taking quests. Gold asks if that's how they'll get intel from the big fish. Light confirms. As the skyline of the city comes into view, the 3 would-be adventurers choose to land outside so as not to attract attention. Upon landing, they spot a father and daughter being robbed by a band of dwarf brigands. Gold's gleaming armor catches the thieves' eyes, and he promptly calls them out to fight, earning another scolding from Nemimu. Enraged, the bandits threaten to kill the family unless the trio shows themselves. Dark gives the order. In the blink of an eye, the thieves are defeated and tied up. Gold starts boasting, and Nemimu scolds him for drawing unnecessary attention. The father and daughter gaze at the group with admiration, and soon the 4 travel together by cart. Dark apologizes for needing their help to reach Dagas, but the father insists it's the least they can do for their saviors. The daughter says she's never seen humans beat dwarves so easily, praising Nemimu and Gold, only for Nemimu to add that Dark is stronger than both of them. The father guesses they're heading to Dagas to enter and explore the dungeon, and assumes they must be famous adventurers. Dark replies they're only aspiring adventurers and still need to join a guild, which surprises the pair. He explains they're going to Dagas to register and climb the ranks. The father says they've chosen the right place. Dagas is the southernmost city of the Dwarf Kingdom, sitting along the border with the Human Kingdom to the east and the Elf Kingdom to the west. The dungeon draws adventurers from all realms despite ongoing disputes, making the city prosperous, even if it still feels rural. Many humans visit, he adds, which allowed him to build a hotel that caters to them. At the city gates, the family bids Light's group farewell and asks if it's okay to part there. Dark says yes, they now know how to find the guild thanks to them. The father introduces himself as Colonel and invites them to his hotel if they plan to stay the night. As they walk away, Colonel's daughter asks if it isn't strange that rookies could be that strong. Colonel agrees their situation is unique. Wandering through the city, Nemumu is amazed by the crowds. Gold warns her not to get lost. Light asks if this is their first time on the surface. Gold notices many shops selling weapons and armor. Light explains that's because adventurers from every realm gather here, and that dwarves specialize in smithing. They enter the guild to register. Nemumu immediately notices the rumor is true. Most aspiring adventurers are human. The humans, however, keep their distance when they spot a demon among them, reminding Light that even here, humans are mistreated. At registration, Nemumu throws a fit because her master is once again listed as rank F. The attendant says everyone starts at the bottom, no exceptions. Nemumu insists Dark should be extra S rank. The receptionist refuses. Dark apologizes for his companion's behavior and thanks the clerk for completing their registrations, also signing up his teammates. Nemumu is mortified that her master had to apologize for her, and Gold says she made a fool of herself. Light tells Gold not to provoke her. Gold replies he's just stating facts, only making Nemumu more anxious. Soon, the freshly registered party arrives at Colonel's hotel, announced by his daughter. Colonel is surprised and delighted to host them. Dark says they'll be staying there. Colonel thanks them and tells them to ask for anything they need. Taking him up on it, Dark says he has a few selfish requests. Colonel says that's fine. Dark asks to rent the entire top floor for 1 month and requests that no one go upstairs during their stay. Not even hotel staff. He offers a hefty stack of gold coins as payment. Colonel tries to refuse. After all, Dark saved his life, but Dark insists Colonel consider this just another request and accept it. Honored, Colonel bows and says he'll arrange everything exactly as asked. Upstairs, Light draws 3 cards and issues 3 commands. Release, silence, magic lock, detection. A glow washes over the top floor. Finally able to relax, Light removes his cloak and tosses it onto a chair. Stretching, he says they're now safe from any troublesome magical items that might spy on them, and tells his subordinates to relax as well. Nemumu, however, gently confronts him. She understands why he wants to travel the surface, but she worries he'll get hurt. It would have been better, she says, if he'd stayed in the abyss and let her and Gold handle the work. Light clenches his fist and cuts her off. Does she intend to exclude him from his own plan for vengeance? Nemumu immediately denies it, but the room suddenly rumbles, reflecting Light's shift in mood. She drops to her knees and begs her master's forgiveness. Gold, as usual, finds the scene amusing, remarking that there are some things a good man has to witness, regardless of the danger. He recognizes Light's desire to carry out his revenge with his own hands, without intermediaries, and says that's admirable. Calming down, Light apologizes to Nemumu, acknowledging she only cares for his safety, and that he let his emotions get the better of him. Still shaken, Nemumu asks to prove her loyalty once more. Light allows it. She takes hold of his foot, apologizes again, and kisses it, signaling deep respect for her master. Light admits he understands the gesture but doesn't like it. He's embarrassed. Unable to hold back, Gold labels the scene eccentric. Nemumu snaps that he shouldn't turn her devotion into something perverse. Gold retorts that all he sees is a maniac enjoying herself kissing her lover's toes, causing Light to recoil. He simply puts his shoe back on while Nemumu orders Gold to take back that outrageous accusation. The next day, the city bustles with markets selling everything from rations to potions, antidotes, and monster repellents. Light's group strolls through, taking in the local trade. People begin whispering about them, and Light notes their disguise may be a bit flashy. They slip into the line for the dungeon. Gold points out there aren't any elves present, even though all other races are here. Light explains the elves' absence is due to a recent dispute between the elf and dwarf kingdoms over who owns the dungeon. Nemumu praises her master's knowledge. Light, noticing how closely she's clinging to him, asks if she has to hold on to him every second. Nemumu says it's her responsibility to protect him at all times. Just then, 2 mysterious figures arrive and blatantly cut the line. Light focuses on the one in a green hood with a massive sword on his back. Clearly an experienced fighter. A group of kids wants to call the cutters out, but they're afraid those men could be dragonids or something more dangerous. Dark doesn't hesitate. He calls out the man in green. Cutting is rude. The blonde man bristles and asks if Dark is talking to him. Dark replies he doesn't see any other cutters besides him and his friend. The man demands if Dark knows who he's talking to. Dark points out their faces are covered. How could he know? And if the man were famous, that'd be even more reason not to commit such a public faux pas. Gold adds the stunt is terrible for one's reputation. Nemimu tells him he's being a nuisance and should go to the back. The green-clad man reaches for his sword, until his companion blocks him, warning that causing a scene here would be unwise. Grinding his teeth, the blonde man backs down. The duo moves to the end of the line, not without promising Dark he'll pay for this humiliation. Human adventurers praise Dark's party for standing up to their inflated egos. Gold congratulates his master, he's already a local celebrity. One of the kids apologizes. They didn't have the courage to confront the cutters standing right next to them. Dark says there's no need to apologize, they spoke up for their own sake. Cutting affects everyone waiting. The kids thank him. One boy, unable to resist, asks if Gold's armor is really made of gold. His friends scold him for the rude question, but he insists everyone's curious. Gold chuckles and starts to answer, but Nemimu cuts in. Of course it isn't real gold, gold is too soft for armor. The kid's leader clamps a hand over his friend's mouth and apologizes. Dark says it's fine. In truth, Gold wears gold-colored armor to symbolize dedication to the Knight's Code. Gold backs his master up, saying no color better represents the shining example expected of knights. The kid asks if this is their first time exploring the dungeon. Dark says yes. The boy explains these floors are broader than most. Adventurers usually camp inside. That doesn't seem to be Dark's plan. Gold notes they're the only ones without baggage. Dark thanks the kids for the tip. The boy says it's nothing and laments they can't be more helpful. An officiating dwarf then calls the next group, the children's party. They wave goodbye and run toward the dungeon. Light admits they didn't think about gear. He and his subordinates are used to storing supplies in an item box. Nemimu asks if they should carry decoy bags to avoid suspicion. Light says it's worth considering. Their turn comes up. They head inside. In the dungeon, they descend the stairs. Nemimu confesses she's never been in any dungeon but the Abyss and didn't believe there were so many different kinds around the world. Gold recalls the kid leader's warning. This dungeon is especially expansive. Light says they need to analyze the dungeon core to uncover the truth behind all dungeons. A task even Ellie, the mage of his army, couldn't accomplish. Dungeons are saturated with mana that grows stronger the deeper you go, he explains. That power spawns monsters and traps, endless possibilities. They emerge into a green field teeming with exotic birds and creatures. Dungeons hold their own worlds, Light notes, very different from the surface. After a moment taking in the view, Light draws 3 more cards and issues: SSR, Clairvoyance; SSR, Concealment; RSS, Flight. They rise above the forest. Gold marvels at the panorama and at his master's ever-surprising powers. Nemimu, loath as she is to agree with Gold, does. Gold infers Light is using Clairvoyance to locate the next floor, Concealment to avoid enemies, and Flight to take the shortest route. Light confirms it'll save them a great deal of time. Elsewhere, a squad of monstrous orcs is sliced apart by none other than the elf who cut the line earlier. Seething over being humiliated in front of humans, he proclaims himself the youngest elite warrior among the Elf Kingdom's White Knights. He introduces himself as Kaido, a legendary hero with maestro blood. Every elf knows his name, he says. His companion, an elf of the dark kind, urges him to calm down. They came for the trolls on the 3rd floor. There's no point wasting time on weak orcs. Kaido snaps at him, Yannick, to be quiet. He won't forgive anyone who dared insult him. He boasts of his level, 1500. Yannick concedes that Kaido is beyond the limit of ordinary elves and his level is nothing to scoff at. But Kaido isn't satisfied. He needs to climb higher if he wants to crush those who offended him. Yannick sympathizes. He too was cast out by small-minded people who didn't understand his research. Kaido, impatient, tells him to get on with it and help him level up quickly. Yannick agrees. He's eager to test the results of his research on Kaido. As they turn away, Kaido thinks to himself he can't fully trust the Dark Elf. He'll discard him once he's served his purpose. Meanwhile, Light's team fells the dungeon's last troll. Gold asks what's next. Light says they'll collect the monster's magic items and call it a day. They need proof for the guild that they reached the 3rd floor. Nemimu suggests returning to the surface. Light agrees, noting the battle left their clothes filthy. Nemimu announces she'll make sure Light is thoroughly clean. Every last inch. Gold smugly notes his armor never lost its shine. Nemimu tells the showboat to shut it. Gliding through the abyss, Nemimu praises her master's skills. They've made it back to the first floor in no time. Gold admires the dungeon's sunset and jokes he wishes they could fly forever. Light likes the idea but says they'll need to land and walk soon, or they'll draw attention. Nemimu points out that happens thanks to a certain idiot's shine. Gold replies that his golden armor looks even prettier in sunset light. Light smiles at their banter, until he spots the kids' party from before. They're about to engage a group of goblins. Gold assesses the formation. 3 boys up front are warriors. The girl is a mage. The kids dispatch the goblins without much trouble. Their leader checks on the team. The boys say it was easy. He tells them to gather magic gems before more monsters appear. Suddenly, Dark and his group appear, startling the kids. Dark tells them that staying focused on your opponent is crucial in battle, but that doesn't mean you can ignore your surroundings. The children stare as a snake lies crushed under Dark's staff. Its bite wouldn't kill them, Dark explains, but it would paralyze someone briefly. If Mia, their mage, had been bitten, their formation would have collapsed and they might have lost to the goblins. The leader thanks Dark and his companions for saving them. Nemimu senses something approaching. Dark feels it too. A rustle erupts from the brush, and a pack of wolves charges at full speed. Why are wolves on the first floor? They usually haunt the deeper forest. The kids' leader orders a retreat, but Dark says the wolves aren't after them. They're fleeing from something else. The wolves thunder past, and then the trees begin toppling. The group freezes as a massive, monstrous insect crashes into view. The leader names it a quadcyst mantis. The creature locks onto the humans with a sadistic gleam. Dinner is served. The leader of the kids is stunned. The creature before them was supposed to have gone extinct more than 10 years ago. He quickly asks Mia, the group's mage, to use a spell to distract it so they can escape. He then calls out to Dark for help, but the protagonist calmly says he and his team will handle the monster. Gold scoffs that the bug doesn't look like a big deal, and Nemimu estimates its power level can't be over 500. The kids' leader can't believe what he's hearing and insists they should run and report this to the guild. Yet Dark simply assures him they'll be fine. The quadcyst mantis lunges at full speed toward its prey, and Gold, stubborn as ever, charges in first. Closing the distance, the knight trades blows with the creature, his sword clashing against the insect's scythe-like mandibles. Gold then retreats, admitting the mandibles are tougher than he expected. Nemimu fires back that he's just a sore loser. Wasting no time, Dark draws a card and unleashes a fire spell, blasting a powerful stream of flame at the mantis. But the mantis evades and reflects the attack back at the caster, forcing Dark and his companions to fall back. The kid's leader urges his sister to support the trio with her magic, but Mia is still reeling from Dark's spell. She points out he just invoked a combat-grade incantation without a single chant. She asks how the boys aren't shocked by such a feat, while her brother stresses they need to help the trio. Gold cuts in, promising to show the kids how a knight fights on a real battlefield. Shield for defense, sword for offense. He raises his shield and absorbs a strike from the insect. To everyone's surprise, the impact is strong enough to crack one of the creature's claws. Lesson 1, Gold declares. A well-timed counter turns your shield into a weapon. He immediately follows with Lesson 2. Strike when the enemy is exposed. With a driving thrust, Gold slices off one of the mantis's legs, remarking that real combat demands both skill and creativity. The kids realize Gold is far more than a braggart. Dark draws another card and casts a second fire spell, this time, a storm of flaming arrows. The creature initially slips past them, but the arrows suddenly curve midair and sink into its back, searing deep burns. Dark explains he has total control over all 30 arrows, and they keep hammering the target. Mia can hardly believe Dark is wielding such advanced magic as the mantis writhes in pain. Dark clenches his fist. The arrows detonate in unison, ripping off the monster's other mandible. Panicked, the mantis turns tail and flees. Smarter than it looks, Dark notes, but he doesn't let it escape. He conjures a wall of fire that seals off its path. Mia is shocked again. Dark can deploy tactical class spells without chanting. The boys are baffled by her reaction, unsure why she's so amazed. Feeling cornered, the creature spreads its wings and rises into the air, right as Nemimu makes her move. With a single explosive leap, she vaults above the mantis. Then, without a shred of mercy, drives through it and tears the monster to pieces, ending it for good. Gold immediately starts teasing Nemimu about her grandstanding. Irritated, she says she was only following her master's orders and he has no right to mock her. Gold scolds her instead for wrecking the valuable parts they could have sold. Nemimu freezes, horrified at the realization. Meanwhile, the kids stare in disbelief. Dark and his companions dispatched the mantis with shocking ease. Nemimu apologizes to her master, and Dark tells her it's fine. Later, the kids' group stumbles upon the jackpot, a magic gem core. Gold comments that Nemimu's lucky something valuable survived in the creature's ashes. Dark is relieved everything worked out. They can turn in the gem and rank up at the guild. Impressed by what he's seen, the kid's leader asks if they're famous adventurers, maybe even rank S. Dark answers that they're only rank F and just getting started. The kids are floored to learn the trio are beginners like them, beginners who just felled a relatively powerful monster. Mia chants softly, forming a floating orb of water, and asks Dark and his team to wash their hands. Gold says his armor gleams as always, though his master's hands, for sure, need a good clean. Dark thanks Mia and he and Nemimu dip their hands into the bubble. He then invites the kids to wash too. Gimra agrees without a second thought. A little later, Dark says he appreciates Mia spending that much mana just to provide water. The kids thank the trio for saving their lives. The kids' leader invites Dark's group to camp with them for the night, even if they don't have much food. Dark says they don't want to be a burden, but the leader points out the sun is about to set and the forest becomes dangerous after dark. He adds that Mia is excited to talk magic with Dark. Her interest in the masked mage is obvious. At dinner, Mia is surprised to learn Dark's parents were also mages. That would explain his talent. Dark returns the compliment, but Mia shyly deflects, saying she can't cast without chance, let alone use tactical class spells. Her brother asks if that's really such a big deal, and Mia, annoyed by his ignorance, explains the 3 classes of magic: combat class, like Fire Arrow and Ice Blade; tactical class, which affect a much wider area, like the firewall Dark created; and strategic class, powerful enough to have global impact, think tsunamis, earthquakes, meteor strikes. She notes strategic spells usually require multiple mages chanting together. Mia adds that dragonites, elves, dark elves, and demons are naturally better at advanced spells, putting humans at a disadvantage. Even so, Dark can cast without any chant at all, something that captivates the young mage. Dark's team appreciates Mia's recognition. Her brother tells her to calm down, which makes her blush. He admits he knows nothing about magic, but he can tell Dark is a noble, kind-hearted gentleman. He adds that Mia is talented enough to earn a recommendation to the Duchy's Magic Academy, and that one day she'll be capable of tactical class spells. Mia tells him to stop messing up her hair. Dark asks whether the leader means the Principality of Nine, the nation jointly founded by all races, and the leader confirms it. Gold remarks that Mia must be exceptionally gifted to be considered for the most prestigious magic school in the world. The brother then reveals their parents died in an epidemic, which kept Mia from enrolling. That's why he and Mia teamed up with their childhood friends, Gimra and Woody, and became adventurers together. Dark offers his condolences. The kid's leader says his biggest goal now is to earn enough exploring the dungeon to send his sister to the academy. Gimra protests that's their goal too. Touched, Mia thanks her team and begs her brother not to do anything reckless. He gives her his word. Gimra promises they'll protect her. Mia complains again that her hair is a mess because of her brother, and watching them bicker makes Dark think of his own little sister, Yum, who is now missing. Moved, he tells Mia it's obvious how talented she is. Mia assumes he's just being polite, but he insists he means it. She brightens and thanks him sincerely. The kid's leader asks what drove Dark and his friends to become adventurers. Dark reveals his parents died in a fire. Nemimu adds that he suffered terrible burns to his face, and they're on a journey to find a potion that can heal him. Gold says they owe Dark's parents a great debt, so they travel together. The kids are shocked into silence. Gimra finally breaks it by blurting out the question on his mind. Are Nemimu and Gold dating? Mortified, Nemimu says she would never date that golden idiot beside her. Gold agrees for once. He says he's only interested in mature women with stunning looks to match his golden aura. Seizing the moment, Gimra asks Nemimu if she'd date him instead. She answers that her heart belongs only to her master, Dark. Gold grumbles that their lord is wasting his time on an idiot like her. Shut it, Nemimu snaps. Elsewhere, a troll's head thuds to the ground, cut down by Kaido, the arrogant elf. He accepts a compliment from the dark elf Yanak, then tells him to shut up. His sword, Grandius, is a prestigious legendary weapon, not a butcher's knife for chopping up lowly vermin. Yanak urges him to relax. They still need more samples for the experiment. Their goal, he explains, is to overcome each race's growth limits. With a wicked smile, the dark elf reveals the next ingredient required for his great experiment: humans. Excited, Kaido declares the hunt begins now. Back at the guild, the receptionist is practically in tears as she receives so many rare, valuable items from the newbie trio, thanking Dark for his achievement. He says to exchange everything for cash and pay them on the spot. Other adventurers gape at the hall and ask if they're the group that defeated the Quadcyst Mantis 2 weeks ago. People are calling them the Black Motley. Nemumu uses the moment to suggest Dark should be promoted straight to rank SEX. Dark simply asks the receptionist to process the trade. Deeply moved, she asks if he'd like a meal while he waits. They've prepared a premium, full-course spread just for him. Outside, Gold comments that the guild's messenger bird is singing a different tune today. Nemumu insists everyone should show proper gratitude to her master, or meet her blade. Dark reminds her to keep the violence to a minimum. As they walk through town, people recognize the trio and whisper about their exploits. A pair of adventurers steps up and asks if they're the Black Motley. Dark looks puzzled at the nickname, and the men explain that's what the whole city calls them now. Suspicious, Nemumu shifts to a defensive stance and asks what they want with her master. The men quickly say they don't want trouble. One introduces himself as Sullivan, the other as Gilbert. Sullivan says he's heard they beat a Quadcyst Mantis and even reached the dungeon's 5th floor. Gilbert scoffs, an ordinary human would need years to get that far. Nemumu's blade kisses his throat as she demands to know if he's calling her master a liar. The burly man backpedals and Gold asks what they really want. Sullivan tries to smooth things over. Lots of people are rooting for Dark's group. Dark asks what he means. Sullivan says someone has to prove humans can compete with other races. It'd be great if they kept taking missions, it would deflate the other races' egos. Just then, their teammates call Sullivan and Gilbert. They're about to enter the dungeon. The two say goodbye and jog off. Dark overhears adventurers from other races scoffing at the rumors. No way a human took down a Quadcyst Mantis and walked out of the dungeon unscathed. To them, it's just idle talk. They dismiss Dark's team with contempt. Later, Dark and his companions soar over the dungeon forest. Nemumu asks what the plan is now. Dark says they can start by heading down to the 5th floor. Gold tells them to look below. There are the same kids they met before, trekking through the trees. Without hesitation, Dark's group descends to greet them, and the young adventurers welcome them warmly. Dark says it's been a while. The kids' leader notes how rare it is to bump into someone you know in the dungeon unless it's pure coincidence. He says his sister has something for Dark and calls her over. Mia pulls a special pearl from her pocket, a thank you gift for saving their lives. Dark asks what it is. Mia explains that before her grandmother passed away, she taught her how to make a burn salve. Dark then remembers the fake story about his scars. Mia says the ointment won't erase them, but it can at least ease the pain. Dark is speechless. Nervous, Mia asks if he doesn't want it, but he quickly says he'd be honored to accept, and thanks her. Her brother reveals Mia had been racking her brain for a way to repay Dark. This is what she came up with. Mia flushes with embarrassment. Her brother shrugs that it's just her nature. Dark reflects that Mia deserves a gift too. He activates a card, then calls her over. In return, he presents her with a special bracelet. Mia is dazzled by its beauty, but worries it's too valuable to accept. Dark tells her that her gift truly warmed his heart. She should accept the bracelet as fair trade. She glances at her brother. He nods. A little anxious, she slips it onto her wrist and can't hide her delight. Her friends cheer. It looks adorable on her. The boy says Dark has great taste. Mia thanks him again and vows to wear the bracelet for the rest of her life. Dark can't help but smile. That night, as they fly above the forest, Nemumu quietly asks her master if giving Mia the gift was wise. Light doesn't see the problem. Nemumu points out he gave her the SSR wish bracelet, far too valuable to exchange for a homemade salve of questionable quality. Dark gently rebuts her. It was the perfect gift for Mia. Gold explains the item can grant small miracles if the wearer wishes with enough resolve. Light chose it specifically for her. He praises Light as thoughtful, chivalrous gesture. Nemumu, swallowing her jealousy, agrees. Gold quips that Nemumu should be less materialistic and more spiritual. She bristles. They arrive on the 5th floor, a snow-covered forest. Light notes how empty it is. Nemumu says the snowfall makes for excellent cover. Light agrees. Gold says the last thing they need is attention. Nemumu retorts he's the last person who should say that. Light reminds them both they're in charge of hunting the Yetis they need. They pledge to do it. Light then uses a card to teleport, disappearing from sight and reappearing in his throne room, where Mei, Ellie, Aoyuki, and Nizuna have been waiting patiently. His officers greet him. Light removes his mask, thanks them for waiting, and settles into a chair in the library. Mei serves him tea and asks how Operation Adventurer is going. Light says it's going well. He enjoys the change of pace and even made new friends. Sipping his tea, he adds that he's seen some of the goodness in the world. Mei is glad to hear it. Light asks for updates on the revenge operation. Ellie reports everything is nearly ready. Relieved, Light compliments her work. She's moved by the praise. He authorizes Ellie to use whatever resources she needs and asks Mei to keep managing the abyss. He instructs Aoyuki to continue exploring the ancient forest. Nizuna asks what she should do. Light remembers complex plans aren't her strength. He tells her simply to keep everyone safe while he's away, since they don't know when a superpowered villain might appear. Touched, Nizuna vows no one will be harmed under her protection. Ellie teases her. Is she really satisfied with such a simple order? Nizuna replies she can't do her primary job until Ellie finishes her preparations anyway, so please hurry. Ellie says she knows and will make everything perfect. Their master deserves nothing less. Lifting his cup, Light says he can't wait to see the miserable look on Sasha's face. Revealing the next target of his vengeance is the elf who once treated him like a little brother, only to shoot an arrow into his knee later on. The big day, he says, is about to begin. Meanwhile, on the dungeon's 3rd floor, Sullivan and Gilbert sit around a campfire with their team, taking a break in the fog-drenched night. They debate the feats of the Black Motley. Sullivan insists the masked boy, Dark, cast a tactical class spell without any chant when he felled the quadcyst mantis. Gilbert still doubts it, thinking the story exaggerated. Sullivan says there's a human girl who witnessed it. Gilbert concedes the tale might not be entirely false. If it's true, he says, the boy must be a legendary knight or a reincarnated hero. Sullivan is pleased his friend's coming around. He says it would be amazing if someone could topple this unjust, human-hating order. He gets up to patrol the area, leaving Gilbert to mine the camp. Moments later, when he returns, he freezes. Gilbert's severed head lies at the feet of none other than Kaido, the arrogant elf. Kaido, unfazed, says he's glad Sullivan finally showed. Keeping him waiting was rude. Fighting back shock, Sullivan tries to stay calm despite his entire team being slaughtered. Kaido sneers at him for ignoring an elf while he's speaking, calling humans repulsive creatures. Sullivan struggles to understand how his companions died so quickly. Kaido grinds Gilbert's head under his heel, mocking Sullivan for not reacting. Swallowing his rage, Sullivan decides to flee and report everything to the Adventurers Guild. He drops a smoke bomb to cover his escape. Kaido calls him a coward. Sullivan is determined to take Kaido before the guild and see justice done, until something slams him to the ground and drags him through the dirt. He wonders if it's magic, but no, it feels physical. He rolls over and sees Kaido behind him, standing on some sort of flying disc. A heartbeat later, Yannick cracks Sullivan across the skull with his staff. The dark elf remarks that fleeing instead of fighting was clever for a human. Then he scolds Kaido for killing all the other humans and leaving only one alive. Kaido retorts that one test subject is enough. Yannick replies that successful experiments need repeated failures. Kaido concedes the point and promises to be more careful next time, though he'll show no mercy to any vermin who resist. With a manic, vicious grin, Yanak says even the most worthless human trash has value, as food for his experiments. Soon, he adds, humans will learn the role that worms are meant to play in their grand design. And that's where we wrap up another episode. If you're enjoying the channel's content, drop a like, ring the notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss the story and the other anime recaps we've got coming. See you next time.